Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. My name is Alex, and I hope you're all doing very well. It is a fantastic day to actually be watching Chelsea. Fantastic night, and I think that's a good start. We actually watched the game in the evening rather than the morning. So, Premier League, whoever organised this event, thank you. I have no issue watching these games late, but it's just when it comes to watching your team and then doing a fan cam afterwards, I've been whispering, and I don't even know if the microphone can catch what I'm saying. So it's nice to just be able to speak properly and clearly about what I've seen. And obviously, you can see I'm wearing my Dodgers shirt. The games are in America. I like the Dodgers. I like the kit. I just thought I'd wear it anyway. Nice and cozy. But yeah, let's talk Chelsea. Really, really interesting performance. Another day, another win. Very different to what I said last season, where I was consistently saying another day, another L. Yeah, really, really happy with what I'm seeing at the moment, guys. 57% possession, couple of goals, clean sheet. We're going to break this down player by player, but if there's one thing we can see in this squad, I know we keep talking about a lack of experience. With some players, even with that lack of experience, they're showing that they've got that wisdom. They've got an older head on younger shoulders, if that makes sense. It looks like these boys have played for Chelsea than they actually have, especially when you look at players like Andre Santos, Nicholas Jackson. I mean, the list goes on, to be fair. Chukamenga, Lewis Hall. I actually think Angelo was fantastic as well. Levy Colwell could have done a bit better, if I'm being honest with you. Matson, usually I wouldn't have to refer back to the lineups, but there's so many changes. You kind of have to, in a way. We made 9 changes at half time. And I can see why Poch is doing it, because we've still got a lot of players that are good enough to play for Chelsea. I think every player seems to know what it is to play for Chelsea. Otherwise, they wouldn't be given the opportunity in the first place. And the fitness seems to be there as well. We're covering a lot of ground. We're making a lot of tackles, winning those second balls. This is something that we didn't see last year under Potter, Bruno, or Lampard. So when we look at the improvements so far, I think they're quite substantial. And then the question is, well, we need more quality, right? We just need better players. But who are those players, and who isn't going to be a part of that squad? Because even with all the sales we've made, the squad's too big. But I think there's a couple we can see that will solve some of our problems. Let's start number 1 up top with Nicholas Jackson. This man was not really talked about when he signed for us from Villarreal. It was about, 35 million, 40 million euros. It's an exceptional signing, guys. Exceptional. I think we all knew that anyway. Judging from what we've seen so far from him, he's scored a number of goals, got assists as well in each game. The link-ups there, the pace is there, the hold-up play, the pressing. I mean, the pressing is what impresses me the most, to be honest with you, because when you look at a modern-day forward, the way you have to press in order to actually take the ball off an opposing player is very different to what we had 7-8 years ago with Diego Costa, where you could shoulder barge, elbow, do all these things that maybe the referee wouldn't pick up. And if you could get away with it, fair play. We would always say that's just good. That's just good play. If the referee doesn't pick it up, you've just gained an advantage over the other team. We've got no problem with that. Any team that can pick up whatever they can, whether that be via time wasting, diving. Let's not make no mistake about it. It's not pretty, but fans accept it, because if it means your team's going to get a result, obviously you're going to do it, right? A lot of those tricks that we had before VAR, you can't do anymore. And this is where the modern forward needs to adapt. And I think Nicholas Jackson's a perfect example of that. A player that really encompasses everything you could look for in terms of being able to physically take the ball off a player and also have the pace to break away as well. The amount of interceptions within that match was fantastic. I think, I don't have the stat for it, but he must have done at least 3 or 4 interceptions in that match. It's fantastic work. This is stuff a midfielder should be doing, and we're getting it from our striker. So listen, start from the front, work your way back. The mentality's there from the get-go, especially with Nicholas Jackson. Obviously, Thiago Silva with the early header from a corner, Ben Chilwell's corner. It was a fantastic jump. 38 years old, this man is, Thiago Silva. Still carrying the team forward. Will be doing for the next season. And to be honest with you, I have to say I was wrong. I don't think I've said it on camera, but I was under the impression he would get a slight lack of game time, just bearing in mind on his age. But when you perform like that, why would you get punished for it? We have no European football. He was playing every other game anyway. So the only difference is we have no midweek fixtures that we usually would have. So more reason for Thiago Silva to start consistently. And who he's going to start alongside, that's an interesting question. I think from what I'm seeing, it's probably going to be Levy Colwell, which I think is a great combination. Bearing in mind Colwell's left-footed and Silva's right-footed. But also just the way they pass, it's always positive. I mean, from what I saw from Colwell, it wasn't anything special. He's always trying to go forward, though. So in pre-season, I say experiment, practice what you're looking to do within the season. If that is what he's looking to do, keep going, because I'm happy with it. Ian Maatsen as well. I said this on the CFTV podcast with Charlie, and I'm going to say it again. There is absolutely going to be a place for this man in our squad in whichever position, because he can play in whichever position. You put him at left back, there's no reason he can't compete against Lewis, Hall, Chilwell and Cucurella. There's no reason, based on what we've seen. You can put him as a winger. He creates. He was putting some good balls in when he came on in the second half. And he can play in the midfield. He can even play on the right-hand side, people. So those people saying, where is the space for Ian Maatsen in this squad? If there isn't a space, make space. Are you telling me that Cucurella deserves to start ahead of this boy? But bear in mind what we've seen during this pre-season. Lewis Hall, I think he deserves it, and Ben Chilwell as well. Okay, cool. Left back's taken, but you've got other positions that can be filled. Let's not act like Raheem Sterling's doing a job. He's not. It's been crap. You know, out of all the positives we can talk about, Raheem Sterling has not been one of them. And I keep reading on Twitter people saying I'm running out of words for Sterling. You know, the words that we've been using consistently are shite, because that's what he's been. We talk about, okay, you know, Sterling, maybe you needed a better manager to lead you. I think he was good under Tuchel the beginning of last season. We played the team around him. It wasn't good football, but he was getting goals. But do you want to really build your team around a player like that? A player who's so unreliable, a player who very rarely wins second balls, doesn't really offer any physicality. I wouldn't class him as a leader. Where's the leadership? I don't see it. I do not see leadership from Raheem Sterling. As far as I'm concerned, this is another guy looking to get a paycheck. And you know what? It works well for him rather than being in Manchester because his family's in London. That's the difference with Sterling. So why do I put my faith in someone like him when I see Mudryk putting in the extra hours, when I see Maatsen balling out on the left-hand side? And he's left-footed. He offers us something different. He can actually whip crosses in on his left foot. Sterling does not take enough risks for me. And when he does, they don't come off. So what are we getting from this player? Honestly, guys, let me know in the chat, in the comments, because I'm just not seeing it. And I did say that we need to give Sterling some time, but this is pre-season, people. You want to see what you're going to see in pre-season for the remainder of the Premier League. If you're not seeing it now, why would you see it then? Because there's no pressure. It just doesn't add up in my head. So for me, Sterling's not been good enough. I can't justify minutes for this guy. Now, we've got a couple of other players I want to just touch on. I think Chukwuemeka, I think he was ready for Premier League minutes last season. I think when he got them, he was great. I remember he played at Brentford away. Good performance. Man City at home, hit the post. Those are just two games I remember him playing. I'm sure there was probably one or two others. No reason why he can't fit into this squad. He was integral to Christopher Nkunku's goal, the second goal. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing, Chukwuemeka. Probably pronouncing it wrong as well, but don't judge me, guys. Who else is there? Cassidy. Now, we've got two players here in that midfield, Cassidy and Andre Santos. Now, after the Wrexham game, I was under the impression that Cassidy deserved the minutes in the Premier League and Santos probably needs to go on loan. From what I've seen throughout the rest of the pre-season, my mind has changed. For me, Cassidy isn't ready for the Premier League. I don't think he can keep up with that tempo, with that intensity, not being able to give the ball away and still play positive football. Whereas I'm seeing something completely different from Andre Santos. This is a guy that's a lot smaller, offers something a bit different, but he keeps things very, very simple. And look, there's nothing wrong with taking risks, but you want someone to keep the play ticking. And what Santos did in this match that we don't usually see is he gave Enzo a chance to creep forward, and people asked for Enzo to do that, and we got to see it, and I quite liked it, to be honest with you. I'd like to see it again against Dortmund, but I'm not sure if we will. If we can't pin down a player like Casado, then I've got no issue having a player like Andre Santos sitting in that midfield. Don't get me wrong, it's not my preference, but you have to work with what you have. And if you pay this amount of money for youth, why not develop it? Especially when you've got no European fixtures. So it's a young Chelsea squad regardless. The only difference is, compared to when we had Frank Lampard, is these boys are world-renowned talents that we were competing with other huge clubs to get. And we beat the clubs to all of these guys. So let's give them the chance that they deserve, because most of them do deserve it. I know Angelo is going to go on loan to Strasbourg. There's been a bit of talk about that. I'd like to see Bashir Humphreys get a few more minutes as well. I think he'll perform well. But generally, guys, look, I think it's another positive. The only negatives that I would take from that game is Sterling. I don't think he's good enough. And I don't think that Casady is ready for Premier League minutes. But that's not necessarily criticism. That's just me saying that I think he needs another year to develop. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Always nice to do a fan cam, and up to Chelsea.